All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, lovely people, lovers of freedom all over the world. Wherever you're joining us from today, you're highly welcome to this wonderful YouTube platform that gives you quality news and information on everything happening in Biafran territory. Please do not slack on this one, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel if you've not yet subscribed. Also, make sure you turn on your notifications so that you can get notified whenever we drop our spanking news. Now, straight up to the issue, on ground. First of all, the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa has actually come out openly in this video you're about to watch. This is a live broadcast, emergency live broadcast of the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, where he has come out to debunk a particular accusations or allegations, as usual, a propaganda against him. It has gotten to that level. It has gotten to that level of the Nigerian government using their tools of confusion and propaganda to, how will I put it? They are trying to take some Biafran's mind out of the major focus. Some of them will start having doubt and all that. But let me make you understand something. Just as the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa said, he clarified that it is high time you stop listening to these Zoom media houses. There was a comment that he debunked, a comment that was made, via Premium Times, where they said, that the Nigerian, the Finnish government are going after the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa. But the reality is that the Finnish government have said that this man is not committing any crime. And that is just the reality. That man you people are seeing, he knows his law. Back and forth, he knows his law. He understands what the law talk about. Do not forget that he is also a lawyer, so he is within the right, within his rights, in whatever he is doing concerning freedom fighting. Like I always say, you need to understand what freedom fighting entails before you start hitting on someone who has made up his mind, who has, laid down his life to defend his people. Self-defense, like they will always say, will never be a crime in any law whatsoever, both, local and international law. It will never be a crime, and that is the stance we are standing on. I saw a post from Akpi. Akpi, that's P. Darlington. And funny enough, I was happy that this was actually coming from a known figure. Akpi is a known figure, his comedy and all that. The guy is funny. And he referred to the Nigerian soldiers as Aleka. How? He said he was coming back and he crossed the Biafran forces, that is the Biafran army. That alone gave him hope, because he saw the weaponry and the equipment these guys were carrying. He admitted there that that the Nigerian government, the Nigerian army cannot stand those boys, because these boys are healthy. Now that speaks volume. In fact, to end up his words, Akmi went further for the first time to say Biafra is coming. Support Biafra. He said it. Invest in Biafraland. And that guy, he doesn't care who you are. If he might be doing all those his crazy thing, but Akmi does not even give a damn about anybody when he's saying his own thing. And that is the reality. He knows, he saw, he knew what he saw. So if it's about the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa walking, yes, he's walking. And he's not laughing with anybody. That is the sweetest part of the whole thing. He's not here to play with you. He's here to deliver to Biafrans. Now let us listen to the voice of the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, in this emergency broadcast. Enjoy.
This emergency press briefing by the Prime Minister of the Biafran people, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Biafra. Our gun is for Biafra freedom and must be used against the Nigerian terrorists. As I welcome the Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa Njoko, to the stage. Prime Minister, over to you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Biafrans all over the world. Good evening, the press that have gathered here. Good evening, friends of Biafrans and lovers of freedom. I greet all of you from a location. Today's topic is we must use our gun against the Nigeria terrorists. And of course, the Declaration of Independence, Biafra. I want to encourage Biafrans all over the world to stand very, very strong. I want to encourage the Biafra Defense Forces to hold their guns very strong. And they must stand on their ground. There is only one reason you have a gun. The reason is to fight and defend the land of Biafra. The second is to make sure those who come to kill our women doesn't come again and kill and go free. The third is to make sure that our children are protected. And also, we have the reason to go to our farmland and come back without getting killed. These reasons, you must be able to make sure that your guns continue to remain in your hand, irrespective of whatever. As we are getting closer and closer to the declaration of the restoration of independence of Biafra, coming December 2nd, I want you to understand that in the coming days, there is going to be a lot of propaganda, a lot of lies, media propaganda, manipulation. You must not fall for it. You must not fall a victim of their media propaganda. Simon Ekpa is standing very strong on this planet Earth. I am marching strongly, getting stronger day by day. And I want to assure you that Simon Ekpa is not moved by any shenanigan, by any propaganda or name calling. I have decided to come this evening for this emergency space briefing to encourage Biafra people to understand that we are already at the end of the tunnel. And all you should focus on is making sure that the Biafra Defense Forces are well funded to be able to meet the challenges that is ahead of them in the coming months. I am here also to respond to the propaganda that they have been writing against the Finnish foreign minister. I want you to understand that Simon Ekpa is not breaking any law. The Biafra government in exile and both in the homeland has never broken any law. And we will continue to increase the pressure and the defense of our land brutally. Nigeria is a terrorist state, and so anybody fighting Nigeria to defend themselves must be well prepared and equipped. And that's exactly what we have done. We have equipped the Biafra Defense Forces to brutally defend our land. If we don't do that, Nigeria will eliminate us. Nigeria will wipe our history away. But this evening, I've just come to give a special briefing of the Finnish independence, because many of you do not know actually what Finland went through. Today, Nigeria, terrorist state, is planning to do what other people have done. What they plan to do is to enact laws, to enact law that will put fear and instill fear in those people that are fighting for their freedom and even agitating for whatever structure in Nigeria. What they try to do is what other people have done in the past. Russia did it. We were told that they enacted a law that those who are agitating for freedom will go to 25 years imprisonment. I want you to understand that it's a badge of honor. You must be very proud that you are part of the movement that have broken the camel's back. And they will make them to always do the mistake of enacting laws in quest to quench the agitation for the independent state of Biafra. It means that the liberation of Biafra has attained a certain level that it has never attained even after the Biafra War. Because after the war, they did not think of enacting a law prohibiting or saying that anybody who agitates for Biafra again will be put to 25 years imprisonment. Owazirike came, they didn't enact the law. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu came, they didn't enact the law. They kidnapped him, and then the Biafra agitation changed with real fighters. And today, they are enacting law that if you are agitating for Biafra, you are going to be jailed 25 years. Do not panic. We will never allow you or allow that such law to take effect. As a matter of fact, they think that we are actually joking in the freedom fighting. The declaration of Biafra is coming. So that law has no jurisdiction over any Biafran born on this planet. It will not. Now, let me tell you something. You know, Finland declared its independence on the 6th of December, 1917. But today, I want to tell you some of the secrets and some of the stories that you were never told about Finland. Now, I will somehow educate some of you on the history of Finland, what Finland went through. The proclamation of the Empress Elizabeth from 1742, subject of the independence of Finland. This independence of Finland was first mentioned in the 18th century, when present-day Finland was still ruled by the Sweden. Do you know that Finland was part of Sweden before Sweden ceded Finland to Russia? How many of you are aware? Finland to Russia? You don't know. How many of you are aware that Finland was part of Sweden before? You don't before know. Sweden you don't know Finland that to Russia. Before Sweden ceded to Russia. And on the 18th March, 1742, during the Russia occupation in the Russia-Swedish War, between 1741 to 1743, the Empress Elizabeth of Russia issued a proclamation in the Finnish language to the Finnish people, asking them to create a Finland which would be independent from both Sweden and Russia in later years. This particular proclamation led to the preparation to create a kingdom of Finland in 1742. The Elizabeth nephew, Duke Peter of Hastings-Gottorp, who later became heirs to the throne of Russia, and Peter III, was proclaimed King of Finland. However, the political situation outgrows the idea of Finnish kingdom, and the concept quickly evaporated. I want you to pay attention. They had from 1742 until 1788. That was another thing called the Angela Conspiracy. The Angela Conspiracy was a scam in 1788, between 1788 to 1790, as a response to the end Gustav III Russia War. And it included the independence of Finland to some degree. Several people involved were linked to the well-ordained Russian occupation and the plundering of the 1713 to 21 Greater Rot. This still in vivid memory when Finns waged partisan warfare against the Russians. A man called George Magnut, who took no direct part in the conspiracy, had written a proposal for a Finnish constitution. That was in 1786. This particular person later had a role in forming the autonomous Grand Duchy of Finland within the Russian Empire. That is what we have formed today, the de facto government. It's just a replica of what you know as the Grand Duchy of Finland. Within the Russian Empire, as he became the first Governor General of Finland after Sweden ceded the rest of Finland to Russia. And this was in 1809, at the conclusion of the Finnish War. Now, Finland started what they call the rise of national identity. This was according to Professor Heiko, before a nation declares independence. I want you Biafrans to pay attention to the Prime Minister of the Republic of Biafra and Biafra in exile, government in exile, and of course the de facto government in homeland. Before a nation declares independence, it must develop a national identity and certain institutions. That is exactly what the Biafra government in exile and the homeland have done today. We have been able to develop more of the Biafra identity, national identity, and of course, many institutions of Biafra government. Governing bodies for Finland were developed after 1809, when it was elevated as a nation among nations. As declared by Alexander I, by becoming an autonomous Grand Duchy under the Russian tier. The date of Finland met regularly from 1863. The national identity grows simultaneously with the pan-European nationalism. Ronderberg and Lenroth created an idealized image of Finnish people and Finnish nature in the 1830s and 1840s. Also, the Snellman was a central person in national romanticism and modern nationality debate. He encouraged the use of the Finnish language instead of Swedish. Among the educated classes, during the Finland language strife, the Finnish mark was introduced as currency. Today, the Biafrans have introduced a gemma, exactly the roadmap, even when our own become very complex. While the Finnish introduced the mark as currency, we have introduced the gemma in this process. This particular mark was introduced in 1860 by the Bank of Finland. Today, Biafra has Bank of Biafra, have introduced the gemma and Biafra coin. This particular mark, which Snellman pegged to silver instead of the ruble, during the famine of 1866, Snellman worked to obtain aid and distribute it in a country with low resources and undeveloped communication. I want you people to understand, I'm not going to give you the entire history of Finland, but there is a reason I have come this evening to tell you that I have become a stone. I have become a stone, and I will be the end of this whole thing. We will hand over freedom to our unborn generation. Not fight, not agitation, not liberation, we are handing over freedom to them. And if you find yourself in the midst of the generation that Simon Ekpa is leading today, you must be very proud of yourself. Today, our motto of freedom or die is Nigerians, we are not or we are no more. Southeasterners, as Nigeria gave it to us, we cannot become. Biafrans, we must be. I want you to understand that in 18th century, the Finn adopted what they call the phenomenon motto. The phenomenon motto was, Swedes, we are no more. Russians, we cannot become. Therefore, Finns, we must be. Biafra are replicating this today on this day, 14th day of August 2024, that Nigerians, we are no more. Southeasterners, we cannot become. Therefore, Biafrans, we must be. It is going to go from here going forward, our freedom or die motto and slogans. My fellow Biafrans, something may shock you today to know that even from the 1917 discussion, the first period of Russification of Finland, in the 1899, with the February Manifesto, a legislative act given by Nicholas II, when Nikolai was the Governor General of Finland. As a response, the cultural address pro-Finlandia was gathered with 523,000 names. I am telling you today that Finland conducted self-referendum in the name of pro-Finlandia signatures. Today, you can call it a referendum. They gathered 523,000 names that is supporting the freedom and independence of Finland. They gathered these names, and a delegation of 500 people was sent to St. Petersburg to deliver the signature of 523,000 names. Do you understand me? They took this step by themselves because Russia will never give them independence. They conducted the referendum themselves, gathered 523,000 signatures. Today, Biafra have gathered over 50 million signatures. Can you beat that? I am telling you, I will be the end of this whole thing. Forget all the nonsense in propaganda on social media. I am here physically. Finland gathered 523,000 names to declare independent. Biafra has gathered 50 million. 50 million Biafrans are still counting. After the Finland gathered 520,000 people, they sent 500 delegates to Russia. With those names they gathered to St. Petersburg to deliver it. The King resistance movement formed at this time in the 1901 in Russia tried to alter the nature of the Finnish army. I want you to understand that as Finland was gathering 523,000 names, they already formed the Liberation Army of Finland. Today, you can call them the Liberation Army of Finland. And in response to that, Russia formed what they call the Kagao resistance movement. They formed this movement at that time in Russia. They tried to alter the nature of the Finnish army with a new conscription law. This is something Nigeria is doing today, wanting to enact a law that will say anybody who is agitating for freedom will go 25 years. Russia did it to Finland. They want to enact a law called the conscription law in order to alter the army of Finland. They call it conscription law, which demanded that Finns not only defend Finland, but also fight for Russia on any front. You understand? They wanted to carry Finland by force by enacting a law. What Nigeria is doing today is exactly what Russia have done. My people just believe in what I'm doing. You see, Nigeria will bring it down this year. Nigeria needed to go down for people to survive. Now, Finnish resistance grew into a mass movement. Are you listening to me? Because of this, Finnish resistance moved into a mass movement, and only half of the eligible men reported for duty. The Bobrikov was shot in 1904 by Egon, who shot himself afterward. The Finnish newspaper, Päivalehti, which had been censored before, was closed permanently as a result of the editorial written about the assassination. Now, listen and listen attentively. The man who composed the Biafra national anthem, who is a Finnish man called Joen Sibelius, composed in memory of Skelman, the steamship SS John Grafton unsuccessfully attempted to smuggle large quantity of arms for the Finnish resistance during the Russo-Japan's War of 1904 to 1905. Even this Finland, people try to smuggle guns to give to Finland for their resistance army. The same thing we are doing today in Biafraland. It is a fight for survival. Today, people are bringing guns to Biafra to support us because we don't deserve to die. My fellow Biafrans, during the 1905 to 1908, a man called Leo formed a government and created a liberal democracy within the universal right to vote. Are you listening to me? A man called Leo Mechlin formed a government and created a liberal democracy with the universal right to vote and be elected. In 1906, the unicameral parliament of Finland was created with universal and equal suffrage. However, the power of the parliament was limited by the term from the 1908 to 1916. Now, I want everybody to pay attention. The second period of Russification of Finland. In 1908, the World War I led activist group to unite. Under Franz Albert, Bobrikov, successors of the Governor General, all legislation was moved to the Russian State Duma, which then pushed for laws restricting Finnish autonomy. Are you listening? They pushed for another law restricting Finnish autonomy. This is something that Nigeria, they are debating today, but they have made their end. Russia demanded higher payment, and the Senate of Finland was replaced with the Admiral Senate or a suburb Senate. Nicholas II pushed the complete Russification and the end of the Finnish autonomy in 1914. While Nigeria was being amalgamated forcefully, fraudulently in 1914, the end of the Russification of Finland started. The Finnish autonomy end of the Finnish autonomy started in 1914 in quest to stop Finnish freedom. But this was halted by the beginning of the First World War. The Jaguar movement was formed and sent first 200 and later 1,900 Finnish volunteers to Germany to be trained as Jaguars, a light infantry, for armed resistance. Are you listening to me? For armed resistance. The Finnish Jaguar formed 27 Jaguar Battalion. By the way, I served in the Jaguar Battalion of the Hammer Regiment in Finland. It's a historic battalion, as you're just hearing today. That was where I served in the Finnish military. The Jaguar Elite Infantry for armed resistance. The Finnish Jaguar formed the 27th Jaguar Battalion, and were eventually sent to Libau to fight against Russian Empire. Sibelius composed Jaguar March lyrics written by Haig Nurumio, who served in the 27th Battalion. Now, I want all of you to understand that the February and October Revolution in 1917 ignited hope in the Grand Duchy of Finland. The revolution for Biafra hope is coming, and believe me, 1 month lockdown of the Nigeria institution is part of it. After the abduction of one of the men called Nicholas II on the March, 2nd March, just like they abducted Mazen Amdekano, all these things you see today did not start from Biafra. They also abducted those who were also in the forefront of the freedom in Finland in those days. The Persian union between Russia and Finland lost its legal base, at least according to the view in Helsinki. Exactly how everything have lost its legal base between Biafra and Nigeria, according to Biafrans in Biafraland. The same thing was applicable to Finland. As it was the Grand Duke of Finland, just the way Mazen Amdekano is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. This man called Nicholas II was the Duke, the Grand Duke of Finland. Now, when he was abducted, the negotiation began between the Russian provisional government and Finnish authorities. That led to Power Act. The resulting proposal approved by the Russian provisional government was heavily rewritten in the Finnish parliament and transformed into so-called the Power Pact. I want you people to understand that even though we are not copying what Finland did, but there are similarities in it. And the history can go on and on and on. Similarity of the step and the template we are taking today to liberate you Biafra people from Nigeria and get you independent and get you lasting peace is almost similar to the Finland pathway to freedom. Today we have broken record as a government in exile and a government in the homeland controlling the territory of Biafra. And today we have recorded 50 million. I want you to tell me anywhere in the history of this world where a government in exile and controlling a de facto government have been able to conduct a referendum, beating and smarting the evil government in the homeland and having people in millions to vote. Today we recorded over 50 million votes, and the vote still goes on till November because of the situation on ground. We made sure that everybody will be given the opportunity to participate in giving their signature on Biafra referendum. Today, we are winning, and they are running, sending assassins to Finland, sending suicide bombers to Finland. And when they fail, they run back to Finnish authority each time they see them come to Africa. My fellow Biafrans, the people you saw being interviewed as the ministers from the Nordic country did not come to Nigeria because of Simon Ekpa. They came for the African Union or ECOWAS meeting. And of course, Nigeria Islamic and Caliphate State, Nigeria terrorist state, and their nincompoop media, they will not ask relevant questions. They are always after Simon Ekpa. They went and asked the Finnish Minister of Foreign Affairs, Elena, who is a very noble woman, about Simon Ekpa. They left the problem of Nigeria. They left the insecurity that Nigeria military have recruited Boko Haram and they are killing people in northern Nigeria. They are killing people in the Middle Belt. They are killing people in Biafraland, of which we are resisting. They left all the insecurity that Nigeria army, police, and all of them have created, kidnapping, abduction, killing, and all that. They left those concerns. They left the concern that Nigerians are protesting for hunger. They left those concerns, and their only concern is Simon Ekpa. What are you doing, Finland, to capture Simon Ekpa? I am telling you today, I am here, and nobody will capture me. I will fight this thing till the end of it, and Biafra will be declared here in Finland. And it will happen in the presence of all of you, and you will see how God is going to use me to save Biafrans from the hand of the Islamic jihadist government and terrorist government of Nigeria. I want you to understand that after Finland declared independence, they had a problem. They had a problem, oh my people, a problem of recognition. This same recognition that we are fighting today. Finland had a problem. And you know how many times they have declared independence in Finland? There was another declaration of 15 November. There was another declaration of the 1917. And November 27, 1917. So the declaration on the 15th of November, which actually changed everything about Finland pathway to freedom. Irving formed a Senate, which started on November 27, 1917. Its goal was to execute independence as soon as possible. The Senate returned to the parliament with a declaration of independence and a proposal for the new Republican instrument of government on the 4th of December. The Declaration of Independence was technically given to the form of preamble of the proposition and was intended to be agreed upon by the Parliament. Parliament adopted the declaration on 6 December with 100 votes against 88. Do you understand that this Finland today, 88 persons voted against the Declaration of Independence of Finland, while 100 persons voted for it? So minus 88 from 100. How many did they give you? 12 or 22 was the winning number for the declaration of the independent state of Finland. Do you understand? They won the vote with 12 persons. Ordinary 12. Ordinary 12. It was 100 against 88. So 88 Finnish people say, no to the declaration. Today, the same people who don't know this history, or maybe who know this history, will be telling you how certain person will be sitting on a national television and telling you, we are not for Biafra, I'm an Igbo man, I am a Joe, we are not for Biafra, but in Finland, 100 voted yes, and 88 voted no. Only 12 changed the fate of Finland today. This thing that all of us are joining today, only 12 persons make the difference. Now, after the declaration of, after the voting of 100 to 88 on the December of 1917, with reference to the declaration of 15th of November, are you listening? In the new declaration says, I want you to understand, the Finnish people or the people of Finland have by this step taken their fate into their own hands. Are you hearing me? After they voted by 100 to 88, they have the declaration wording, and it reads like this. The people of Finland have by this step, the step they are taken by voting to declare Biafra, which is exactly what we are going to replicate in Finland on the 2nd of December. After gathering our vote, we're going to count them, and we're going to know how many people have voted for Biafra. Now, a step both justified and demanded by present condition. Their present condition justify the step they have taken by voting to declare independent. They say that it is not only the condition, but also the present condition demanded by this present condition justify the means, justify the fact that they have voted for the declaration of independence of Finland. The people of Finland feel deeply that they cannot fulfill their national and international duty without complete sovereignty. The same thing we, the Biafra people, are feeling today that makes Simon Ekpa to become a terrorist, according to them. The reason why Simon Ekpa is the bad person in the eye of the enemy who have killed our people before the emergence of Simon Ekpa is because with Nigeria, Biafrans continue to be in Nigeria, we, the Biafra people, will never ever fulfill our national and international duty without a complete sovereignty of Biafra state. That is the reason why Simon Ekpa and the Biafra government is doing what we are doing today. We have every potential to become the best in the world. We cannot attain this potential under Nigeria. Apart from the security issue, apart from the killing, the annihilation, the massacre and mass murder of the Biafra people, the marginalization, we can never ever attain our national and international duty without complete sovereignty nation of Biafra. The century-old desire for freedom awaits fulfillment now. This was the word of the Declaration of Independence State of Finland. This exact thing we will do in Biafra and for Biafra and in Finland in the convention. Now, Finland's people step forward as a free nation among the other nations in the world. The people of Finland dare to confidentially await how other nations in the world recognizes that with their full independence and freedom, the people of Finland can do their best in fulfillment of those purposes that will win them a place amongst civilized people. Are you listening? Now, after the declaration of Finland, a man called the Svehn immediately asked Sweden